Hello, my name is XIV, and welcome to, technically I'm recording this on the same day as I recorded that Overwatch video, which I'm assuming is coming out first. Maybe I'll do it backwards, who knows. I'm weird. Anyway, hello, my name is XIV, and welcome to a little video of me talking about Final Fantasy XIV. And it will be a little video this time. It's not going to be an hour-long epic where I talk about Endwalker endlessly. Endwalker was amazing. Anyway, so today I kind of want to just talk about a little bit, as the title probably indicates, I want to talk a little bit about the future of Final Fantasy XIV and what I want to see from it. Because, as I said in the Endwalker review / ramble / rant, this is literally my favorite game of all time. I absolutely love Final Fantasy XIV. It is an incredible video game, and I'm honestly so grateful I got to play it. But at the same time, I actually do have, even though it is my favorite, I do have mixed feelings and I think healthy criticisms of the game. And I'm going to talk about what I want to see for the future, but I'm also going to talk about some things I hope they try to do better going forward. So I guess the first thing I'll talk about is what I hope to see. And this is just a little bit, because what I really want to see is in the main scenario quest. So now that the Hydaelyn Zodiac epic is now done, I hope that they just let us be adventurers, at least for a couple of patches. It doesn't be forever, right? But at least for a couple of patches, at least let us just be adventurers for a little while. Let us explore. Let us see some of these places that Emmett Selk talked about in Ultimate Thule. I think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be really awesome. Because I feel like this story has been so heavy and so intense for so long that we kind of forget, even though the Xenos bit after the Endsinger fight kind of reminds us a little bit of it. But the story has been so epic and almost unyielding in its drama that it would be nice to just have a little break from that and have a story where it's just like, all right, well, we saved the world. Let's explore this ancient underwater civilization or something, Stuff like that. That'd be awesome. Underwater ruins, I meant to say, really. But, just stuff like that. I think that'd be cool. I hope that, obviously they're implying they're going to kind of hit the brakes a little bit, start something new, right? But, let's start something new. But I really hope that involves hitting the brakes first and just saying, all right, that first ride is over. Let's take a break at this rest stop, or for a couple of weeks. Let's just, not a rest stop, but just take a little vacation. Let's have a little fun. Let's have little fun, silly moments. Let's ease off the intensity for a while and just let the adventurer be an adventurer. I think that sounds pretty cool. I'm hoping that's what we're kind of looking forward to in patch 6.1, at least 6.2 maybe. Is that the mailman? I think so. But sorry, I just heard my letterbox being messed with. I kind of like, huh? Anyway, sorry, that was, I'm too tired for that level of distraction. Oh boy, we're in trouble now. But that is the long and short of it, really. That's just kind of what I want to see for the immediate future of the main story quest and everything. I just want to see a game that the game relax a little bit, right? Now, some other things I'm really hoping to see. First of all, I don't think it's necessarily going to happen in this expansion, but obviously, one of the biggest problems I've had with the game over the past couple of expansions is the increasing lack of current content to do. Obviously, Shadowbringers, for example, never had a deep dungeon, right? I would say that Bozja was very limited in scope as a gameplay sort of thing. It was a fine story, but as gameplay, it had surprising little content. The various, I can't remember what the fates were called, but the critical engagements and everything. It wasn't there wasn't a lot there. It wasn't varied enough as a piece of content, and it got very dull and very repetitive very fast. That's why I never finished one of the relics. Even though it was one of the easiest ones to, even though it's literally been the easiest one to do since the game was released, it's still just, it felt like it was too light on stuff to do to keep my interest. Because I get bored very easily with tedious, repetitive tasks. And especially in MMOs. And so the end result is I tend not to do a lot of endgame content because MMOs are always going to have repeated tasks, right? But this was, I think this was a notable problem because Bozja was very light on details. There was no deep dungeon this time. The expert roulette being reduced to only one new dungeon per patch. I thought that was like one of the worst changes. And I did not buy Yoshi P's argument that I did not buy Yoshi P's assertion that the game has enough dungeons. That's not the problem. The game, first of all, I don't think the game can ever really have enough dungeons. But the problem is that most of the dungeons are pre-60. There's more pre-60 dungeons than there are post-60 dungeons, I'm pretty sure. I think my math is correct on that. You know, which means that you have less and less dungeons that are current content. And that's a problem. You need it, you know, the simple fact of the matter is because of the way the game does its progression, you know, the most important content is always going to be current content. And there isn't a lot of that in Final Fantasy XIV, and it's been decreasing every expansion, right? They used to release three expert dungeons per patch, then it was 2, then it was 1 and then 2, 1 and then 2, and then it was 1 and 1 and 1, and that is not a good thing in my honest opinion. And I really hope that with the epic saga over, they're gonna start like moving resources back into making more content again. Because remember, the game's an MMO. It's not like a one and done Final Fantasy, right? It's not Final Fantasy 1 through 10, right? It's not Final Fantasy 12 and 13 or 15. It is, you know, it is a long-term game that you play, you know, over time. And I don't think it's very good for the game's health to have such a limited amount of content for you to do. You know, something else I remember just now, there was no Allied Beast Tribe quest for Shadowbringers. A very bizarre choice because the Allied Beast Tribe quests are some of the most fun things are some very fun content. And they usually release that in a 5.5.56 patch, if I recall correctly, and they didn't this time, and that was a very weird choice. You know, and I think I understand because they put a ton of resources in Endwalker to make Endwalker the best it could possibly be, and it paid off. But now that Endwalker is done, now that the epic story is done, it's time to bring it back and bring back some of that MMO content. And what I'm really hoping to see going forward is some, like I said, first of all, I think there should be a little more expert dungeons. I would be totally fine with it just being the Stormblood patch cycle, where it's 1 and then 2, 1 and then 2, and then 1, right? I would be completely fine with that, right? Because, I mean, also, the other thing about it is that the dungeons were also another way to explore the world, right? You know, they're these big set pieces that you get to, like, see another piece of the world in. And when you only have one dungeon per patch, first of all, the dungeon gets tied down by the story. You don't have any side content that allows you to see another part of the world, right? And that is disappointing to say the least. I would have liked to have seen like what other areas existed in Norvrant. I mean, there probably isn't much because Norvrant is literally just this tiny island in the middle of a desert, essentially. But surely there are other places that we could have delved into in Norvrant. Like surely there's like ruins of like in like Ilmeg somewhere of, you know, I can't remember the name of the kingdom there. But surely that there would have been something there to explore that he could have come up with, right? Or at Amarang. Amarang probably would be the better option. You know, I'm sure there's something cool there that we could have explored in the dungeon. So, I really hope they do something about that. Because for me personally, there isn't a lot of endgame content that really personally appeals to me. Not if it's going to be as tedious as Eureka or as bare bones as Bozja. You know, I just kind of log in and do a little bit of here and there, but I don't like go all in, you know, I don't savage raid and stuff. And people like me though, who aren't like hardcore or casual, who are more mid-core-ish, I guess you would describe it, need a little more, I think, to chew on. And we didn't get that in Shadowbringers. And I think Endwalker desperately needs it. I think Endwalker is going to need a deep dungeon again. I think they need to do that. If they're going to do a Eureka/Bozja-like instance, they need to make it... They need to find the balance between the two things. They need to make it sort of deep, quote-unquote, like Eureka, but make it accessible like Bozja. I don't know how possible that is, but they need to try something. Because Bozja gets boring because of a lack of things to do. Eureka gets frustrating because it's just too much to do and it takes too long to do it, at least on release. I'm probably gonna work on both of those. I never beat Eureka, but I'm probably gonna work on some of that stuff during the patch cycle for Endwalker on stream. That's what I hope to do. And remember, live streams, they're a big part of what I do now, so the link is in the description below. Please check it out. Please follow if you don't subscribe. Subscribe is paid on Twitch. Regardless, check it out, please. I would appreciate the support. Anyway, plug over. But I would like to see that first of all. I'd like to see dungeon content increase again. I would like to see a deep dungeon again. I would like to see if they're going to do like a large scale instance, I want to see that improved on, that iterated on, made better. And something else I really want to see is side story content again. If you notice, we didn't get, except for the role quest, capstone quests that came later on in the patch cycle of Shadowbringers, we didn't really get any side story content in Shadowbringers. You know, there was no Hildebrand, there was no Scholasticate, there was nothing. There was no post-Moogle quest. There was nothing like that in Shadowbringers, really. And I think the game needs that stuff again. I don't know if we need to bring back Hildebrand. I think so. After an expansion long break, I'd be fine with seeing Hildebrand again. You know, or we need some sort of like, I don't know. We've already done the Scholasticate, so I feel like doing a Studium style, doing the same kind of style of quest in the Studium might not work as well. But then again, it might be fun. Or maybe something with the Alchemists in Radzat Han. You know, I think that would be kind of fun. Or Thabnera, I should say, rather. I think that would be kind of a fun idea. But I think we need side story content again. I think they need to go back and they need to make an allied Beast Tribe quest for Norvran. When they do the Beast Tribes for Endwalker, they gotta make sure they gotta have that there too. You know? They gotta pull these resources into making the game have content, like having a breadth of content, not just like this one great big vertical story, but a breadth of content again because of the kind of game it is. They need to come back to that. Because I'm really, as a player personally, again, I love the story. It made the game skyrocket to my favorite game of all time. But as an MMO player, I want to see the game be an MMO again. Be more like an MMO and less like, you know, be less like Final Fantasy X or whatever, you know? I want to see that. You know, and again, I will grant you, there's stuff there. I mean, obviously we had the Firmament and all that, and that was really fun. I actually really enjoyed that as someone who likes gathering casually. And in fact, I really have to go back out there and start earning Skybuilder scripts to get the rest of the rewards I never got. But regardless, yes, they gave us stuff, but they need to come back and start giving us more again. You know? We need to see more again, I think. And I think that would be healthy for the game. I think it would be good for the game. And I think it would strengthen the game in the long run as an MMO. So anyway, that is all I had to say. I felt like I had more to say, but I don't think it was anything remotely as important as those 2 points about the story and about the game as a game. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like and leave a comment if you have your own opinions on the matter. And I will catch you next time. For who knows what. I don't even know when this. I don't even know when I'm editing this and putting it out. So, whenever. Until next time, everybody.